Yo! I just want to preface this video before I really get into it. No matter where you are in your life, no matter if you felt like you've made mistakes, no matter if you felt like you've built upon successes, the future and where you are now, the present, can always change. Karma can play a role. Luck plays a role in everything. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we don't. Sometimes things are meant to happen, sometimes things aren't meant to happen. But regardless, where you are now, there is a reason for it. There is something to learn from it. It's not necessarily that it was meant to happen for a better reason, for a good reason. But no matter what situation you're in, there always is something to learn. If you're winning, learn the successes or enhance the habits of success that you have maintained, that you have showcased. And if you're in a point of opposite success, not being a failure, not being like, that type of thing, but if you don't feel like you've racked up successes in your present, not in the past, not whatever, if you feel like if you're stagnant, if you feel like you're not making progress, just know there is always something to learn. And sometimes it's more than one lesson, and sometimes a lesson has multiple degrees to it, to where it's just granted, it's a multiple faceted lesson. In that, the first lesson, you learn that some apples are red. In the second lesson, you learn that some apples are yellow. In the third lesson, you learn some apples are green. And in the fourth, sometimes you learn some apples are orange. Well, how does that work? Sometimes life will give us opportunities. Sometimes us and life will make us miss opportunities. But regardless, opportunities will always come should our mind, body, and soul be attracting it. Not only attracting it, but also being prepared for it. Because fortune favors the prepared mind. And at the end of the day, when people say, oh, this person got lucky, oh, this person didn't deserve it as well, they just got lucky. Sure, that's true. Sometimes the person themselves had no direct involvement in what they attained. But also, that person that you deemed lucky could have been in a very fortunate situation that they capitalize on because of the work they put in behind the scenes. That they, in their mind, never actually was going to correlate to the situation, but it's like, oh damn, everything that I've done, the things that I've trained, the things that I've learned, the things that I've practiced, the things that I've been telling myself, it's now the opportunity to put it all into the blender and make the best possible concoction I can make is right here in front of me. I have the opportunity to make the best of this situation. Now, that aside, what I want to talk about, the title of the video, is sometimes our faults, our problems, the reason why our life is spiraling, why situations are the way they are, is because of us, not because of another person. Now, before I continue, every decision, everything in our life, I personally believe, is a result of our thoughts, actions, habits, everything. There's no situation, no scene in life that is another person's fault or another person's I'll just say fault. There's nobody else. There's nobody else. Everything in your life is because of you. Obviously, there's factors, nuances, but we have complete control over ourselves and how we react to a situation, how we think about a situation, how we process a situation. And obviously we change as humans, but some things are just kind of ingrained in us. And sometimes some people want to learn or continue to reinforce what we already have going on. Sometimes some people want to unlearn and learn new techniques, habits, blah blah blah. But I just want to emphasize, there's not much to really emphasize because I think it's a very simple thing that you could expand on, and I think that's something that you watching have to think about yourself, does it apply to you? Is it something that could apply in the future? Is it something that applied in the past? Is it something that could be a nice little treat, nice little piece of information that will be useful later on? Something that will be just a reminder in your head, just, okay, there's no direct implication, there's no direct spot I can put this in, but there will come a point where knowing that it will become beneficial. But we also have to come to a point of just accepting our mistakes, accepting our flaws, accepting our imperfections. For a long time, I've been chasing perfection, personal perfection, not being the nicest person, not being the strongest person, not being the fastest person, nothing like that, but just being chasing, which isn't attracting. It's going after something that's not. It's not a magnet. It's like both two norths just going against. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Two norths going against each other, to where there's never gonna be a connection. It's always gonna be some type of distance. It's always gonna be some type of barrier. But if it's north and south, the tracks align. But embracing, obviously, this is also the biggest part that I'm not going to go into, but embracing the positives of oneself, your strengths, your talents, your positives, the things that you've done good, the tendencies that you have that are good, thoughts you have that are good. Don't underplay, don't undervalue, and don't overlook the positives that are in you. Always be grateful, because there was a point in time, I assume, that you didn't have such a good, I'll say, reservoir of potential habits, thoughts, etc. But we as humans, and every being, I say, has those negatives that we have to address, that we have to face, that we have to embrace. And it's not about, once again, it's not about embracing it and then projecting it, continue to project it, continue to enhance the negatives. But it's merely just acknowledging, okay, yes, I have these negative tendencies. I know I've made mistakes in the past. I acknowledge this. I've done bad. And if you've tried, or if you have made apologies or reconciliation, then that's a great step forward. But acknowledgement of the potential things that are holding you back, the potential things that are keeping you stagnant, the potential things that are just kind of poisoning the water, poisoning the well, poisoning the river, poisoning the ocean, to what could be a very beautiful and serene ground, holy ground for you and for the people that come around you. Because we in this world, we in this life, no matter how much we may feel that we are alone, that nobody else can relate, that nobody else is going through the same situation, which may be true. There are unique situations that people won't know exactly how it is to go through. But relatability is our greatest asset. Especially in this world where there's fucking 8 billion people, or at least close to 8 billion people. There's people that can strongly relate to you. It doesn't matter if they live it doesn't matter if they walk the same path that you've walked. If they haven't, honestly, I would say that's better, because you get a different perspective. But it's like, this person still relates to me on a heavy level. But nevertheless, it can be overwhelming. It can be draining. It will be draining. It will be tiring, exhausting to go through the process of acknowledging and embracing and then overcoming the negative tendencies and traits. And it's sometimes, for a lot of times, it's a lifelong journey. There's some things that you can address. Let's say there's two main negative traits that you've addressed. Let's say at the point of being 25 or 30, and you go through the process, blah blah blah, and you get to the point, say 10 years later, those two major things, let's say at this point, you went through the whole process, you went through a positive, blah blah blah, those two things no longer relevant. But now you have a different set of problems, because that's life. Life has chapters. life has sequences, life has scenes, life has a constant way of challenging us, which is good. If you're religious, God has constant ways of challenging you. If you're spiritual, the universe has constant ways to challenge you. If you're agnostic, atheist, then your life has a constant way of challenging you, which is exactly what we should be always going after. Something we should always be not chasing, but something we should always be facing. Something we should always be, not honestly fighting, but something we should always be dancing with. We should never be completely removed from challenge or completely removed from adversity, because those are the things that advance humans. Those are the things that advance us, progress us, enlighten us, that make us ascend. There's no guidebook. There's nothing to follow. There's no step-by-step thing to do to overcome. There obviously are guidelines. There obviously are checkpoints. There are lighthouses that you can follow through the seas. But your own journey is your own journey. Don't be... There's a separation here. Be inspired by others. Be inspired by yourself. But don't copy others. And don't copy yourself. Even successful tendencies and habits can become a drought over time. You continue to get the water from a well, from a reservoir. You do it so much, there's a possibility that the well, the water, the reservoir becomes a drought, becomes barren. It's just about being mindful of yourself, your inner energy, the energy around you, and the energy you let in. That's unrelated, but I'm allowing myself to be more religiously spiritual. I've always been, for a long time, for the majority of my life, I have been disconnected and hesitant and wary of organized religion, and I still am. I don't know when and if that'll change, but I assume it will, because there's a facet of ignorance in there, facet of immaturity, I'll say. I shouldn't feel the way I feel, but what I think and what I feel are two different things. What I think, it could be justified. How I feel could be justified, but it's not something that I want to perpetuate. It's not something I want to continue on in my life, because I want to be able to be free. And when you are free, you don't attack yourself. You don't weigh yourself down by ideas or feelings. But I say this to reiterate the importance of fighting yourself and continuing to challenge yourself, because the point when I kind of denounced religion for my life was like middle school, elementary, whatever, and to now, to where I'm becoming more accepting of the idea of allowing God or universe or Yahweh or Allah in my life. Is I'm allowing the opportunities to present itself. I'm allowing myself to learn different religions, to see what kind of aligns with me the most, what speaks to me the most, what kind of where my soul is being guided to, as opposed to keeping up barriers to any potential help that I can get. There is a good amount of pride that I have on not asking and accepting help until I think this is I'm not gonna just say this is a man thing, but it very much so is heavy with men. I don't know about women. Maybe not. Maybe a little bit. And then at the end of the day, it's kind of how you were raised. But a lot of men deal with this, of the pride aspect of not asking for help and not accepting help, especially not until it's too late. In my case, like I said, I won't ask for help until I'm falling. So it's like when I ask for help, I'm only asking for help for the sake of, okay, this help in my eyes is the win that will allow me to save myself, or to be saved, as opposed to feeling like you're struggling and being like, okay, there's no point in doing this alone. There's no point in struggling to this degree with to when I can still improve myself, help myself, and better others, better whomever is being involved in the situation. And it's one thing if you're in the fucking Titanic. If you're in the Titanic, it's a sinking ship. Don't bring people in like, help me, I'm drowning, motherfucker. I don't want to drown with you. Like, what? Be cognizant in when you're asking for help, and be cognizant of who you're asking for help. There's some people that may want to help, but they can't. So don't feel away when they can't help you. And there's certain people that can help and that won't help. And in that, still, don't feel away when they don't help you. Nobody's obligated for anything. And once again, I say this because in the religious sphere, in the spiritual sphere, the higher being, whomever that may be for you, or whatever that may be for you, is always there with you, is always there alongside you, and can give you courage, power, bravery, strength, resilience, faith, most importantly, trust, hope that you can do it, or that a situation will arise that you get some help. But at the end of the day, ultimately, you can only help yourself. You can only save yourself. You're the only one that can acknowledge and address the things within yourself, and you're the only one that can heal your own ocean. You're the only one that can do the things that you need to do. You may be given opportunities. You may be blessed with opportunities. You may be blessed with gifts, talents, situations. But if you're not in a position, if you're not putting yourself in a position to be aware, to be self-aware, to be self-loving as well, because it's one thing to be self-aware, and to also be kind of downplaying yourself or being too harsh on yourself. Now, I'm rambling. It's almost 20 minutes, but when you are going through the process of this, the process of acknowledging everything, dealing with the shadow, dealing with the dark, yin and yang. There is no light without dark, and there's no dark without light. There is no dark without light, and there's no light without dark. One cannot coexist without the other, because balance is a universal concept. It's not a human concept, such as many people say math isn't a human concept, but math is something we come up with to try to help figure out things. But there's universal principles, universal factors, universal beings that are there, not for us to reach out to, but it's there. And we have the ability to reach out to it. We have the ability to improve. Now, ultimately, not everyone's going to do this. I may say this, and there's people that are going to go through their entire lives and not at any point really try to challenge themselves. Not at any point try to get some clarity, get some peace, get some tranquility. People are going to live their lives. I made a video in the past, expectations, biggest downfalls to anybody's hopes, dreams, love, etc. The only thing you should expect is from yourself and from whatever you believe in, whatever faith you believe in. Whether that be yourself, whether that be universe, whether that be God or gods. I'm gonna end it here. I feel like I said more title points, more head points. I do want to allow you, viewer, whether that be me or somebody else, to think about it. Think about your life. Think about what you've gone through. Whether this applies to you, whether it doesn't, whether it applies to somebody that you know, or whether it doesn't. I think regardless, there are things that we need to be aware of and there are things that we need to be reminded of just for continued presence, just for continued awareness, continued alertness is the word I was looking for. Awaken. I don't think is awakeness a word? There are things that we need to know to be awake, to not be asleep. Also, completely random fact, some people try to rush their third eye opening. Don't rush it. There's certain spiritual shit. I don't know why I say shit. There's certain spiritual things and just life things, life moments that do not need to be rushed. But we feel the need to rush it because, life is unpredictable. We never know when we're going to make it. Success, especially in this life where it's getting harder to just live and exist, to just have some type of, to be able to wake up and not feel anxiety fucking coursing through your body because bills, because of people, because of family, because of job, because of the environment, because of war, because of whatever. Now there's always going to be conflict because of humans, and once if one human exists and another human exists and they're not the same, there's gonna be conflict. But alas, think, be kind, be thoughtful, be prudent in your actions. Is that the word I'm looking for? Be attentive, be aware, but also remember to always be kind to yourself. Love thyself, love thy neighbor. Revenge is to not be like your enemy. The best revenge is to not be like your enemy. Be true to yourself, no matter how hard it may be. There are times when I felt like just not being the ultimate version, like being an angry version of myself. But your angry version, your upset version, your emotional version isn't your best version. It's not to say to be perfect, because we're all gonna feel emotions. That's not to say otherwise. We're gonna have our random thoughts, our intrusive thoughts. But words are powerful. Words are very powerful. What we say to ourselves, what we say to other people. So just be conscious. Just be cautious. Cautious and also conscience. I think I said the word wrong. Cautious, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Also, physical health. Take care of your body. Get some exercise in. I'm a hypocrite. I've been slagging for a while, y'all. But love, peace, tranquility. Stay blessed. Stay hungry. And seek the truth. Seek the truth. That's really what I gotta say. Take care.